Chapter 1. The Missing Team. Attention! One of the soldiers shouted. Every soldier in the barracks immediately stood to attention as the general entered the room. The general returned their salute and said firmly, "At ease." The soldiers relaxed, but the tension remained. The general slowly looked around the room before speaking. Operation Fireteam was sent to recover a scientist who disappeared in the north. It has been months, and we have received no reports, no calls, and no response from them. The room fell silent. The general turned toward the front row. "Sergeant, prepare your men. If we do not hear from Fireteam by next month, the Lion Team will take over the mission." The soldiers exchanged uneasy glances. The general's expression hardened. "Make up your minds now, because some of you may never return." A chill ran through the room. "Do you hear me?" "Yes, sir." The soldiers shouted. Later that evening, Frederick sat quietly on his bed. His roommate, John, noticed the sadness in his eyes. "I know you miss Peter." Frederick remained silent. Peter was more than a teammate. He was family. Peter was Frederick's cousin and one of the soldiers who had disappeared with Fireteam. John placed a hand on his shoulder. "Everything will be okay." Frederick wanted to believe him, but deep down, something felt wrong. That night he lay awake staring at the ceiling. His thoughts kept returning to Peter. Finally, he reached for a photograph beside his bed. It showed the two cousins smiling during military training. "We'll serve together one day," Peter had once said. Frederick stared at the picture. "Where are you, Peter?" He whispered. The wind outside rattled the barracks windows. Far away in the north, hidden within the darkness, something was waiting. Chapter 2. The Hunter's Warning. The next morning, the barracks door suddenly burst open. A young soldier rushed inside. "Have you heard the news?" John sat up immediately. "What news?" The soldier glanced around nervously. A hunter came back from the north. The room grew quiet. "And?" Frederick asked. The soldier swallowed. He said he saw soldiers walking through the forest during the night. Frederick immediately stood. "Fireteam." The soldier shook his head. "I don't know." "What do you mean?" John asked. The soldier lowered his voice. He said they weren't acting like normal people. A cold silence filled the room. Frederick stepped closer. What exactly did he see? The soldier hesitated. Then he spoke. He said their eyes glowed in the dark. Nobody said a word. Meanwhile, military leaders gathered in a secure conference room. Maps of the north covered the walls. Mr. Blue shook his head. "The hunter is imagining things." Mr. Ken disagreed. "Whether we believe him or not, something strange is happening." Mr. Louis nodded. "We need answers." Mr. Leo folded his arms. "One of our best teams vanished without a trace. We cannot ignore that." The room fell silent. Finally, Mr. Blue sighed. "Very well. Prepare our soldiers. Prepare the equipment. Prepare the weapons." Back at the barracks, Frederick sat alone. The hunter's words echoed through his mind. Their eyes glowed in the dark. For the first time, he wondered if Peter had encountered something far more dangerous than an enemy army. Something that should not exist. Chapter 3. The Letter. That evening, Frederick sat quietly on his bed. Beside Peter's photograph was a sealed envelope. A letter. Peter had given it to him before leaving for the north. "If I don't return, give this to my wife and son." Frederick picked it up. His hands trembled. Months had passed. No calls. No reports. No sign of Fireteam. Should he finally deliver the letter? Or keep believing Peter would return? As he stared at the envelope, a memory came rushing back. Months earlier, Frederick and Peter were preparing for a mission. Suddenly, Peter's phone rang. He answered and listened. When the call ended, his smile was gone. "What's wrong?" Frederick asked. Peter laughed nervously. "Is it that obvious?" "Tell me." Peter took a deep breath. "My wife is in labor." Frederick's eyes widened. "You're going to be a father." Peter smiled, but his eyes remained worried. "I am happy." Then why do you look like that? Peter stared at the floor. What if I don't come back from this mission? Frederick frowned. Don't say that. What if I never get to see my child? Frederick placed a hand on his shoulder. You worry too much. Peter laughed. Frederick smiled. We'll complete this mission and come back alive. The general trusts us for a reason. Peter looked up. You really believe that? Of course. You'll see your baby. A few hours later they left. The mission was successful. Everyone returned safely. At the time, Frederick thought every mission would end that way. Now he wasn't so sure. Back in the present, he stared at Peter's photograph. Then he looked at the unopened letter. Just as he was about to put it away, someone knocked on the door. A soldier stood outside. His face was pale. Frederick. What is it? The soldier swallowed hard. We just received a signal from the north. Frederick froze. A signal. After months of silence. Could fire team still be alive? Chapter 4. The signal from the north. The moment news of the signal spread through headquarters, the military leaders rushed to the communications room. Several technicians were already gathered around the equipment. A radio operator adjusted his headset as static filled the room. Sir, he said nervously, the signal is weak, but it's definitely coming from the north. The general stepped forward. Establish contact immediately. The operator nodded and spoke into the microphone. This is military headquarters. Can you hear me? Repeat, can you hear me? For a few seconds, there was only static. Then a voice suddenly broke through. Hello. Everyone in the room froze. The operator quickly responded. We hear you. Identify yourself. The voice sounded weak and exhausted. Help us. The room became silent. The general stepped closer. Who is this? What is happening over there? Loud noises echoed through the radio. The sound of gunfire. Screaming. Heavy footsteps. Then the soldier spoke again. They are killing us. The general's eyes widened. Who is killing you? For a brief moment, there was silence. Then a horrifying scream erupted through the speakers. The soldier cried out in terror. Something roared in the background. The transmission suddenly cut off. Silence. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. The general clenched his fists. The room felt colder than before. Finally, he turned toward one of the communication officers. Where exactly did that signal come from? The officer immediately pulled up a map. It came from the middle region of the north, sir. He pointed at a location. It appears to be near the Great Forest. The general stared at the map. The same forest where the scientist had disappeared. The same forest where fire team vanished. The same forest mentioned by the hunter. The general looked around the room. Prepare the lion team. The officers immediately stood up. We have no more time to waste. Back at the barracks, Frederick had already heard about the signal. For the first time in months, hope filled his heart. A signal meant survivors. A signal meant Peter might still be alive. John walked over and sat beside him. You seem happier. Frederick smiled. Maybe Peter is alive. John nodded. Maybe. Before either of them could say another word, the barracks door opened. A soldier stepped inside. Attention, Lion team members. The general wants everyone in the conference room immediately. Frederick and John exchanged glances. The mission was finally beginning. Minutes later, the members of the Lion team gathered inside the conference room. The atmosphere was serious. Everyone knew what was coming. The door opened. The general entered. Attention. A soldier shouted. The entire room stood and saluted. The general returned the salute. At ease. The soldiers relaxed. The general looked at each of them. I believe all of you have heard about the signal from the north. The soldiers nodded. We now know the location where our men are trapped. The general pointed at a large map displayed behind him. This is where you are going. The room grew quiet. This mission is unlike anything we have faced before. He paused. We do not know what we are fighting. The soldiers exchanged worried looks. We have interviewed survivors. We have questioned witnesses. Yet nobody can clearly explain what exists inside that forest. The general's voice became firm. Whatever is there has already defeated Fire Team. The room fell silent. Fire Team was considered one of the best units in the military. If they could disappear, anyone could. The general continued. You are called lions because you have succeeded where others failed. He looked directly at Frederick. You have faced impossible missions before. Then his expression hardened. But this may be your most dangerous mission yet. He stepped away from the map. You leave tonight. Do you hear me? Yes, sir. The soldiers shouted. After the meeting, the Lion Team proceeded to the training facility. Waiting for them was Mr. Louis, one of the military's most respected combat instructors. The soldiers immediately saluted. Mr. Louis returned the salute. Then he began speaking. Soldiers, you are about to enter a battlefield unlike any other. He slowly walked in front of them. We have interviewed hunters, villagers, travelers, and survivors. His face became serious. Every single one of them described something terrifying. The room remained silent. Something is hiding in the north. He pointed toward them. And it has already killed many people. The soldiers listened carefully. We do not know how many members of Fire Team are still alive. He paused. But if there are survivors, you will bring them home. The soldiers nodded. Mr. Louis raised his voice. Remember the most important rule. The soldiers straightened. Come back alive. His voice echoed through the room. Protect yourselves first. Save as many people as possible. Do you hear me? Yes, sir. Mr. Louis nodded. Good. He then revealed several new weapons covered with military cloth. The soldiers stared. None of them had seen these weapons before. These were developed for extreme threats. Mr. Louis removed the covers. We don't know what creatures you'll face. The soldiers looked at the powerful equipment. But these weapons may be our only chance. For the next several hours, the Lion Team trained relentlessly. They learned new combat techniques. They tested the weapons. They practiced emergency formations. And they prepared themselves for whatever waited inside the great forest. Night finally arrived. Military trucks lined up outside headquarters. Engines roared. Searchlights illuminated the darkness. The Lion Team marched toward the vehicles carrying their weapons and equipment. Frederick stopped for a moment. He looked back at the base. Then he touched the photograph of Peter inside his pocket. Hold on, he whispered. I'm coming. The soldiers climbed into the trucks. The gates slowly opened. One by one, the vehicles rolled into the darkness. The journey to the north had begun. Unknown to them, deep within the great forest, dozens of glowing eyes suddenly opened in the darkness. Watching. Waiting. The Lion Team has finally begun its journey into the north. But what is really hiding inside the great forest? What attacked Fire Team? And most importantly, is Peter still alive? Before we continue, make sure you subscribe to Nari Cloud Tales and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode of this thrilling adventure. Now, let's continue the story. Chapter 5. Into the Great Forest. After several hours of travel, the Lion Team finally arrived in the north. The moment they stepped out of their vehicles, an uneasy feeling settled over them. The air was cold. The sky was covered with dark clouds. Not a single bird could be heard. In front of them stood the great forest. Its enormous trees stretched high into the darkness like giant shadows watching from above. Frederick looked at the forest and felt a chill run down his spine. This was where the scientist had disappeared. This was where Fire Team had vanished. And somewhere inside, answers were waiting. The soldiers loaded their weapons and prepared their equipment. Frederick turned to his team. Stay alert. No unnecessary noise. Keep your eyes open. Yes, sir, they replied. The Lion Team slowly entered the forest. Every footstep seemed louder than it should. The deeper they moved, the darker the forest became. Strange mist drifted between the trees. Twisted branches hung overhead like claws. The silence was unnatural. No insects. No birds. Nothing. It was as if every living thing had abandoned the forest. The soldiers moved carefully. Some watched the path ahead. Others guarded the rear. Nobody wanted to be caught by surprise. Hours passed. Yet there was still no sign of fire team. No bodies. No campfires. Nothing. Frederick frowned. It was as if the entire team had simply vanished. Then suddenly, "Sir." One of the soldiers dropped to one knee. Everyone immediately raised their weapons. "What is it?" Frederick asked. The soldier pointed toward the ground. Footprints. Fresh footprints. The lion team quickly gathered around them. The prints belonged to military boots. Frederick's eyes narrowed. Fire team. Hope returned to the soldiers. For the first time, they knew they were following the right trail. "Move carefully," Frederick ordered. The team quietly followed the footprints deeper into the forest. The trail led them through thick trees and narrow paths. Then they saw it. A tent, partially hidden among the trees. Frederick immediately raised his fist. The team stopped. Nobody spoke. Nobody moved. The camp looked abandoned. But appearances could be deceiving. Frederick quickly divided the team into 3 groups. Group 1, circle around the back. Group 2, take the left side. The rest come with me. The soldiers nodded. Slowly they surrounded the camp. Weapons ready. Fingers on triggers. Every second felt like an hour. Then Frederick stepped forward. Nothing happened. No attack. No movement. Only silence. The team carefully entered the camp. What they found made their blood run cold. A military truck sat nearby. Its windshield was shattered. The metal body was covered in deep claw marks. One of the doors had been ripped completely off. Nearby were empty food supplies. Spent ammunition shells littered the ground. Signs of a battle. A desperate battle. The soldiers searched the area. Frederick's eyes suddenly landed on a familiar bag lying near a fallen tree. His heart skipped a beat. He slowly walked toward it. The bag was damaged, covered in dirt. Beside it lay a wristwatch. Frederick picked it up. His hands trembled. He recognized it immediately. It belonged to Peter. Years ago, they had made a racing bet during training. Peter had won. As part of the bet, Frederick had given him the watch. There was no mistake. Fire team had been here. Frederick stared into the darkness. "Peter." The forest gave no answer. Only silence. A terrible silence. The lion team gathered together. Everyone understood what this meant. Fire team had reached this location. And something had attacked them. Frederick placed the watch inside his pocket. "We keep moving." The soldiers nodded. They packed their equipment and prepared to continue. But before they could leave, one of the soldiers suddenly froze. His face turned pale. "Sir." Frederick turned. "What is it?" The soldier slowly raised a trembling finger toward the darkness between the trees. At first, Frederick saw nothing. Then he noticed it. 2 glowing eyes. Watching them. Motionless. Hidden among the shadows. Then another pair appeared. And another. And another. The soldiers raised their weapons. The glowing eyes did not move. They simply stared. Watching. Waiting. And then, one by one, they disappeared into the darkness. Chapter 6. The Attack. The soldiers began to notice strange shadows moving between the trees. Frederick raised his hand and whispered, "Stay quiet. Stay alert. Prepare for combat." The forest suddenly fell silent. Then a loud roar echoed through the darkness. Their radios filled with static. "Sir, we lost communication." Before anyone could react, the creatures appeared. They moved with incredible speed, leaping between trees and attacking from every direction. The soldiers opened fire, bullets tearing through the darkness. Some creatures fell. Many did not. The monsters were stronger than anything they had ever faced. Screams filled the forest as several soldiers were wounded. Frederick fought fiercely, taking down creature after creature, but there were too many. "We can't win this fight." He shouted, "Retreat." The surviving soldiers grabbed the wounded and ran. They hid inside abandoned ruins and deep caves hidden beneath the forest floor. Outside, the creatures searched for them. Every soldier held their breath. Even the wounded struggled to stay silent despite the pain. Minutes felt like hours. Then, suddenly, the creatures stopped searching. One by one, they turned and disappeared into the darkness. No one understood why. The soldiers quickly treated the wounded and sealed the cave entrance with rocks and debris. Frederick ordered some soldiers to rest while others kept watch. But he could not sleep. His mind was filled with questions. What were those creatures? What happened to Peter and Fire Team? Would anyone make it out of the forest alive? As he sat alone, he noticed blood dripping from his shoulder. A medic approached. "Sir, you're wounded." "It's nothing," Frederick replied. "Please, sir." Reluctantly, Frederick allowed the medic to treat him. A few moments later, the medic stepped back. "Done, sir." Frederick nodded. The cave became quiet once again. Then, from somewhere deep within the forest, a beautiful voice began to sing. The melody was soft and haunting. Frederick slowly opened his eyes. The voice felt strangely familiar. He looked around. "Can you hear that?" he asked. The soldiers stared at him in confusion. "Hear what, sir?" "The singing." The soldiers shook their heads. There was no sound. Only Frederick could hear it. The voice continued, calling him, drawing him toward the darkness beyond the cave. Then, through the cave entrance, Frederick saw something. A glowing figure standing among the trees, watching him, smiling. And in that moment, he realized something terrifying. The figure was calling his name. Frederick. The mystery has only just begun. What is calling Frederick from the darkness? Follow Nari Cloud Tales for more amazing stories. Subscribe now and turn on your notification. Season 2 coming soon.